Breaking right now, new reports about hen-pecked Prince Harry suggest that the blundering royal is still treated as Meghan Markle's, quote, servant.
Brittany has just dropped a bombshell exposing Meghan Markle's alleged control over Prince Harry, suggesting he's more of a prisoner than a partner. Is Harry truly happy, or is he stuck in a royal power game he can't escape? Dive deep into the shocking dynamics, jaw-dropping moments, and expert analysis that could change the way you see the Sussex marriage forever.
After 5 long years of marriage, Brittany, editor of the Royal News Network, will analyze this astonishing report with me in just a moment. But first, I want to take you through it. Radar Online reports as Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau took the stage at the Invictus Games Vancouver Whistlers 2025's closing ceremonies on February the 16th to congratulate the event's athletes, he also had a few words for Prince Harry, who founded the Adaptive Games for wounded, injured and sick military personnel. "You are the one who turned this into a reality," he said. 20,000 attendees cheered, and Radar Online can reveal that Prince Harry got emotional. But they report that then, with the fanfare over, it was time to go home, where after falling out with the royal family in 2020, Prince Harry faces an uncertain future with Meghan Markle. While the Invictus Games event was an achievement, a source said, when it's over, it leaves a void, and this year was no exception. Harry didn't know what to do with himself. Now, the source added, in regards to Meghan's Netflix project, she's got everyone around her hustling. It's all about Meghan now. Critics said Prince Harry's devotion has come at a price. According to insiders, the Duchess calls the shots, from continuing their feud with the royal family to their charity and business deals to their friendships. The insider said, Harry doesn't have a social life apart from her. He used to have a lot of friends in the UK, but since Meghan came along, he doesn't talk to them, much less see them. It was subtle at first, but those friends have the impression she doesn't want him hanging out with people he knew when he was a bachelor. The source added, she's done with Britain, and no doubt that's caused tension between them. Each time Harry goes back, it's a negotiation. The insider explained it shows an imbalance in their power dynamics. Despite that, the source said it would have to be Markle who pulls the plug on the marriage. The insider added, Harry seems terrified about what would happen if he were to walk away from Meghan.
Comment below. Is Prince Harry under Meghan's control, or is this all media spin? Subscribe now for daily royal truth bombs and exclusive breakdowns. She's beautiful, she's bold, and according to Brittany, she's running the entire royal escape plan.
Brittany, absolutely fascinating stuff. What do you make of it?
I mean, I'm not surprised in the slightest. We had a People magazine article, I believe it was from last year, or maybe the year before, talking about, and this is a very friendly publication to Harry and Meghan, talking about how she makes all the decisions in their lives, basically, that she is the one who rules the roost. And so I imagine Harry gets a high when he goes to Invictus and he enjoys it so much, because I do think he genuinely enjoys being with the veterans, but I think he feels increasingly like he doesn't know what to do. He sort of has no purpose in life. She has stolen every single aspect of his identity in so many ways, his role as a prince, his role within his family, with his friends, with the military there in the UK, like so many different things. And yes, he made those decisions too, but I think she definitely really, when she got her claws into him, really did pull him in certain directions. I don't think he would have gone in another relationship. I think if he had a healthier dynamic, he would still be in the UK. And we do know Tom Bauer, I believe, talked about how when Harry and Meghan hosted a weekend with his friends, they were all like, oh my gosh, what is with her? Like, none of them liked her. They all thought she was sort of a killjoy, could not stand her. And so they sort of had to walk away. And Meghan has made it clear as well, if you're not with me, you're against me, and then get out of my life and his life as well. So she definitely has pushed a lot of people out of his life. And I just do find it very sad.
It is incredibly sad. And you can also understand that he would have felt that low when he returned from the Invictus Games because, thanks to Trudeau, he was being heralded, received that huge ovation. Remember, Meghan had been sent home early because she was just completely distracting from the event, and the organizers were not happy with it. But of course, the moment she was back, it all was about as ever. It all was about with love. And what's actually so fascinating, Brittany, if it hadn't been for the LA fires, actually even the Invictus Games would have been all about with love and all about as ever, because the launch was only delayed because of the criticism surrounding her disaster tourism.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, I think some of the fervor over with Love Megan might have died by the point of the Invictus Games, but she is definitely a distraction to him. She is a distraction to the games. I don't think she cares about the games. We know, like, throughout most of her history, she's not been much of a sporty type person, and there's nothing wrong with that. But this is not something that interests her. This is his thing. And she comes in and she sort of takes over his attention. That's the thing. There's nothing wrong with a spouse going to support their partner during a game, but it's like, leaning on him, grabbing him, kissing him, doing all these things that pull his attention away from where it should be, which is the veterans, because he always has to be there with her. He always has to be holding her hand, doing all these things when he should be out there supporting the other veterans. And I think a spouse who is more secure in the relationship and not quite as needy as Meghan would be perfectly fine with that. I don't think Catherine has any issues with William going out and supporting Urshad, and as she's there supporting him behind the scenes and sometimes in front of the cameras as well. And Meghan just sort of pulls all the attention, and Harry, he enjoys that Invictus moment. But once he goes home, I mean, she rules the roost, she rules everything. And he's just there to follow behind her, picking up after, one disaster after another. So he sort of, I would imagine, leads sort of a sad existence at this point.
What about the fact that even when he is trying to go home to the United Kingdom now, she has all of her issues with it and makes it so difficult?
Meghan Markle's alleged manipulation of Prince Harry has been exposed in a fiery takedown, and the claims are nothing short of explosive. From isolating him from his family to making every move about the brand, Brittany says Harry isn't free, he's trapped.
I mean, when it comes to especially like the security issues and everything, I think she's like, it's partly his, I think, delusions on this, that his family needs all the security to come back, but I think she feeds it and she prevents him from bringing his kids back. I'm sure every time he goes to the UK without her or even with her, it's an absolute battle because she hates it there. They didn't fall for her BS in the UK, and so like she knows she's not really welcome, and she has no desire to go back there if she can't get a fan base to follow her. I mean, I'm sure she has fans there, but it's just something where she can't allow him to interact with his family, with his friends, without her being there, because heaven forbid he doesn't follow the party line anymore. And again, I think that's incredibly sad. Healthy relationships generally don't result in one member completely cutting off the rest of their family, but that's definitely what's happened with Harry and Meghan, and she definitely doesn't want him hanging around with any of his friends without her there, I don't think.
No, that's the thing, because we know that some of his old friends, Brittany, are interested in an intervention once Harry reached out to them again. And so I guess her paranoia could also mean, oh my goodness, he's going back to the United Kingdom without me. What are they going to say? What are they going to do?
Well, Dan, when it comes to Meghan, I mean, we know she wants to cling to that title for dear life. So even in the event, let's say, of a divorce or something, she's just hoping and praying that nothing, like that she can keep some aspect of that title, because that's the thing she believes is going to make her money. So anything she can do to cling to it, she's going to. But yeah, she's definitely very worried, I think, about if Harry goes back there without her, and if his friends stage an intervention, if he finds the joy he's sort of missing in his life. I feel like, not that he doesn't get joy from his kids and, living in some aspects of California, but if he can feel more himself. I mean, he's given up so many aspects of his interests and stuff in hunting, in polo and things in order to please her. And I think at the end of the day, when it comes to their future, like if he can find some of those passions again, he might go, well, this relationship isn't all that great anymore because I'm having to give up beer and do yoga when I'd rather be out hunting and having a pint with the lads. So I think Meghan definitely is very worried about those type of things. But Harry, I think, I would hope that his friends want to reach out and want to encourage him to maybe find the real Harry again.
Indeed. Now, a big story this week, Brittany, although there's a lot of consternation as to its truthfulness and where it came from, but let me just take you through it first, was this rumor that Prince Harry had been offered to make a series for Netflix marking the 30th anniversary of the death of Princess Diana. Now, if he made this series, it would be in contradiction to the agreement, the brother to brother moral agreement that he made with Prince William after the 20th anniversary, that would be it. No more cashing in on his mother's memory. But this story, which was initially reported by a Los Angeles source to the Sunday Express, said the idea is that it would be a solo project for Harry, who would be a co-executive producer, as well as hosting and narrating the series. He is uniquely placed not only to talk about the woman he knew as his mother, but also to examine her role as an enduring social and cultural icon still beloved by so many. The source added, nothing has been agreed yet, but this has been talked about in an extremely positive way. Harry might even see it as a stepping stone to building bridges with William and the rest of his family. The production executive added, it's felt that this is something he would handle with passion and sensitivity, offering fresh insights into not only her life, but also her lasting legacy. Their next big deal with Netflix is going to be much more results driven rather than a massive upfront payment.
Let's get into this power play and whether Harry can ever break free. Well, Brittany didn't hold back. She said Meghan has systematically cut off Harry from every pillar of his identity, his family, his duties, even his military ties. According to her, Meghan isn't just a wife. She's the strategist behind every public move.
Now, you can imagine that sparked immediate outrage. The office of CB wrote, oh, do F off. Sensitivity? The snivelling P-word continually lines his pockets and dines out on his mother's death to keep Meg sucks in wrinkled rags. Leave the woman to rest. Sabera alone said, in other words, I'm willing to sacrifice my dead mother in order to save our deal. That's one way to get your brother to never talk to you again. Just keep pushing, H. Make the world hate you more and more. Netflix is all about making money. A Diana documentary would sell like hotcakes. He's at the point now where they have nothing left but to offer up his dead mother on a plate. I hope William, when he becomes king, completely erases his brother from the line of succession. Also, can we talk about this clown? Knows nothing about his mother. He's going to rely heavily on other people. Not too many people are going to be willing to talk to him. Charles Spencer is going to want a cut. And according to Taz, weighed in on this, saying, I hope Prince William can block this. Sabera replied, I'm assuming any content they use that include William, they would need to get permission, especially since majority of it is going to be him. That clown doesn't know anything about his mother. William does. Taz replied, it's absolutely disgusting if he does try to do this. And Sabera added, goes to show you it's all they have left for this deal. Their children isn't even interesting to the world. Diana is. When I think this man can't go any lower, he does this. The fact he doesn't even care about his brother. So you can see, Brittany, the huge outpouring of anger and frustration over this story, which has actually prompted a denial today from Netflix sources to The Independent. But I'm always a bit wary about these types of denials because remember, the Sunday Express story was only saying this was an active discussion. And at the end of the day, if Harry does want this deal with Netflix, there are very few topics that are going to generate the sort of views that are going to keep them in business with the streaming giant. So my take on it is, I know it wasn't agreed or anything like that, but clearly the discussions had been had, and Harry has proven time and again that he is prepared to completely contravene that deal that him and William made after the 20th anniversary in 2017.
Well, I mean, Harry needs to think, Dan, that when it comes to Hollywood, all they want to do is make money. If it means trampling on his mother's grave, they are more than willing to do it. And it's Harry who has to make the decision to go, no, I'm okay. I don't need to be involved in something like this or what have you. But when it comes to Netflix, I mean, their deal has mostly been a disaster on all levels. We know they didn't get a ton of money up front, like the whole 100 million they probably won't get, but they are trying to continue, I guess, to make inroads in Hollywood, but most of their stuff has been sort of an epic train wreck at this point. And I think if Harry did a documentary on his mother, not only would his brother probably never ever speak to him again, because I think that would be just such an absolute violation, but I think honestly it would drive Harry insane. And he doesn't really know Diana as a person. He knows her as an icon. He knows her as what the media tells him about her, I think, in a lot of ways. I think he has a very young child's view of his mother, whereas William, who was much closer to her, kind of understood her as a person, understood her good qualities and her faults, loved her in all aspects, but still understood her, I think, so much better. And what I think is such a shame is that Harry will still continue to blame the paparazzi for this, when in fact it was the lack of a seatbelt. I just think it's a crime that Harry doesn't encourage people. Hey, my mother didn't survive this terrible accident, and she might have if she had worn a seatbelt. I think Harry has a very unhealthy relationship with, I think, what happened with his mother. I don't think he's dealing with it in a very emotionally sound way. And I think this documentary, I just think it would drive him crazy. I think it would be just one of the worst decisions he could make.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And in terms of the conjecture that it would mean William would never speak to Harry again, well, I think we're already at that point, to be completely honest.
From the Oprah interview to the Spotify and Netflix deals, every opportunity was calculated, and Harry just along for the ride. He looks less like a husband and more like a PR prop. That's Brittany's brutal assessment.
I mean, we're close to that point. I think if Harry finally tried to actually make amends, like apologize, take responsibility for some of the decisions he and Harry and Meghan had made, I think they could maybe have some sort of relationship. But will they ever be as close as they were? No, I don't think William will ever fully trust Harry again. I think William has sort of essentially given up on him for the most part. And I think William probably considers the Middletons to be more his family in many ways, because they have stood by him. They haven't betrayed confidences. And yes, James has his dog care line and those sorts of things, but they've stayed strong for him. And I think he values them so much because of that. And especially as Catherine has gone through her cancer treatments, and as his father has, and he sees his brother over there in the United States, just allowing his wife to trample all over their family. William's like, for my own health, like mental health and everything, I have to be done with you, Harry. Like, we can still maybe have something, but Harry will never be within the confidence of his brother again. I just highly doubt that.
I think you're completely right. Now, can we speak about a couple of big magazine covers over the course of the week, Brittany, for the real royals? So first, People magazine put Prince William, the Prince of Wales, and his wife Catherine, the Princess of Wales, on the cover. This was interesting because, of course, People has been very much aligned to the Sussexes of late. Kate reclaims her role as the headline. Well, to begin with, she will absolutely hate that, of course, because they're using Kate, they're not using Catherine. And I know that is something a lot of the media organizations do. I do understand it to an extent, Brittany, because there's lots of algorithmic reasons and space reasons. But she's not going to like it. What did you make of the article itself, which seemed to be focused on the fact that actually William and Catherine are now touchy-feely type people, which, again, to me was a bit of a misrepresentation, really. What did you think?
Well, for me, when I look at Catherine and William, and yes, maybe they've been a little bit more affectionate. I think it comes from a variety of places. Number one is that since the death of the Queen, obviously some protocols have been relaxed. I think Catherine and William have always been very respectful of the Queen, and I think they've always been so good to understand that there is personal and there is professional. And yes, they do things as a couple together, which is somewhat unique, but they don't need to be touchy-feely generally when they're out on engagements because they are professionals. And at the same time, we've seen them privately hold hands, be affectionate. So it's not like the affection isn't there. It's just that they have this separation. But I think because of the death of the Queen and I think especially Catherine's cancer treatments, I think they're just in this space where we just don't want to be maybe as rigid. We want to let people in a little bit more. Yes, we will always be professional. Yes, we will always be people who you can rely on to put forward the great face of the UK. But we are also a family. We are also a couple. And we will do maybe a little bit more to show that because at this point with everything they've gone through, they've sort of earned it. So I think people are welcome to it, enjoying it, and I think it's a wonderful thing to see Catherine and William do.
Let's break down the red flags Brittany pointed to. Harry's body language in interviews, often anxious, reserved, looking to Meghan for cues. The shocking rift with his family, no contact with Prince William, strained relationship with King Charles. Moving to the US, stepping away from royal duties, launching brand Sussex.
Yeah, indeed. And, a near-death experience maybe will do that to you, I guess. But it was interesting to me that people sort of trying to show after the past few weeks that actually, no, we're not completely Team Sussex. We're going to talk about the real royals too. Then we have Princess Beatrice with this really personal first-person piece in British Vogue about the birth of her daughter Athena. Brittany headlined, "There's so little control." Princess Beatrice opens up about daughter Athena's preterm or premature, to use the British vernacular, birth in her own words. What did you make of this? Because there's some lovely pictures as well that she's released as part of this feature.
Is completely and utterly wonderful. She went through something that was obviously, I think, probably a bit traumatic. They were very concerned about what this would mean. They sort of, it sounds like, had some sort of idea that she would probably be born premature. And so they didn't know how early. And it sounds like they were a little bit worried with her in the initial couple of weeks. But I love this personal side that the royals can bring to issues because her first public appearance after giving birth to Athena was at a gala for an organization that focuses on preterm birth and what that might mean for mother and family. So I think that is fantastic of Beatrice. I love seeing these pictures and I love her sharing this personal side. It's much like Catherine with her cancer journey. Now she has this more personal connection. And yes, Beatrice isn't a working royal, but she still has a couple of patronages. And I think she can still bring attention to such an important issue that affects a lot of moms and families. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. I love seeing her in British Vogue, love the pictures, and I'm very excited that her and Athena are both doing very, very well, it sounds like.
Brittany, very good news. What a week it has been for the British royal family. Thank you so much, as ever, for your company. And do make sure you follow the Royal News Network on X and subscribe to Brittany's amazing page on YouTube for all of the best updates about royal family all around the world. By the way, Brittany does it all. And Brittany, I love having you as part of Outspoken. We will speak next week.
Meghan's influence is everywhere, and it's raised real concerns. Brittany suggests Harry didn't just step back from royal life, he was pulled. Do you think Prince Harry is truly trapped? Or is Brittany reading too far into the royal drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This one's going to spark major debate. Hit like if you're done with royal spin, and don't forget to subscribe for more royal revelations you won't see on mainstream media. Thanks for watching, and keep questioning the crown.